Nick and Jana Cirilli were out and about at the party on Friday night. She was ready to have a good time and drank a little more than usual of her favorite wine. Lana, Jana's best friend, and her husband Steve were having a party that night and decided to start a game of truth or dare. The owners persuaded 5 more couples to play, but the women, in particular, were hesitant because Lana could be a bit harsh. The game started relatively calmly, as one of the women explicitly stated that she would not do anything racy, such as exposing her bare breasts. Some of the others agreed to keep the questions reasonable. As the game continued, the alcohol began to relax and affect the questions. As the requests became more insistent, one of the women suggested, and it was decided that if the question was out of line, it could be ignored. After some time, it was Lana's turn again, and she asked Jana, "Truth or dare?" The truth was chosen. "Who was your best lover?" asked Lana. "Nick, I guess." The excessive amount of wine Jana drank influenced her answer. Taking another sip and putting the glass down, she giggled like a schoolgirl and said, "Not really." There was a collective sigh. Lana told Nick, "Well, if you're not number one, then fight." Nick's response was neither verbal nor cheerful. His face turned beet red from a mixture of embarrassment and rage. Jana instantly sobered up enough to realize what she had done and tried to improve. Jana stated that she was just teasing her hubby and that he really was her best lover. Nick stood up and said, "To hell," and headed to the refrigerator for beer, but did not return to the game. Comments like, "Oh my God, Jana," or "Damn, this hits where it hurts," echoed around. "I thought the dumb blonde was a myth, but damn it, girl, you just told your husband that his place is no higher than second, and in front of 10 other people. Is he even second? Or maybe even further? Damn, Lana, I thought you were my friend," Jana said, trying to get up. "I was just joking, damn it." "I'm your friend. I'm just joking too. Bring him here. We'll all help him calm down," Lana volunteered. Jana felt that she urgently needed to get to Nick and fix everything as quickly as possible. Even drunk, she knew that it would not be easy to calm her hubby down. She found him hanging out at the wide screen with others. There was a game going on, but he wasn't watching it. "Sorry, baby. I'm a little drunk. I thought it was funny, but probably not. Get back to the game. Let me fix everything," she begged. "No, just stay away from me. Stay and I'll go home," he said, stood up and began to say goodbye to those who were nearby. Lana approached Jana and asked, "Where is he going?" "Home." "I'll go apologize to him before he leaves. I did it even worse. I'm sorry," Lana said, about to catch up with Nick. "Let him go, please. Right now he doesn't want to hear anything from any of us," Jana said, starting to cry. "That asshole? Wait here. I'll go get him." "No, Lana, don't. You'll only make it worse," Jana begged. "We joke here all the time." "What the hell is wrong with him? You didn't sleep with someone else so he could be second," Lana volunteered, intending to be supportive. But the expected consent from her friend did not come. Instead, sadness and shame were reflected on Jana's face. Instantly, understanding came to Lana. "Lord Jesus, Jana, you did it!" "Please be quiet. If Nick thinks anyone else knows, my marriage will be over. Please, Lana, promise me. Not a word, not even to Steve," Jana begged. Okay, not a word. But after you sober up, we'll talk," Lana replied. "I need to go home. He probably won't talk to me, but I have to try," Jana said quietly and headed towards the backyard gate. Lana returned and announced, "I'm taking her home just to make sure she gets there safe and sound." By the time Lana caught up with her, Jana had already reached the side door of her house. "Jana!" Lana shouted, but Jana simply turned, waved her hand, and went inside. Jana immediately went upstairs, went into the bathroom, put on a nightgown, and went to bed. She touched Nick's shoulder, hoping he would turn to her for a kiss, but he remained motionless. Trying to get some kind of response, she ran her nails down his back, just the way he liked it. After several minutes of caressing, he remained motionless. She thought she saw a tear roll down his cheek. A last attempt was made to defuse the escalating situation. "Honey, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it." "I love you," she whispered in his ear. The gentle peace offering was not received as expected. "Do not lie to me. I know what you said and what it means. Go to hell and leave me alone," he snapped. Following this outburst, he got out of bed, walked into his den and slammed the door. Yana cried until she fell asleep. The morning came late, since the previous night kept Yana from the desired early rise. There was no coffee pot, no dishes, nothing in the kitchen. It looks like Nick left the house in a hurry, not wanting to meet face to face. Yana was saddened, realizing her guilt. She again remembered her answer to her friend's question. The alcohol she drank removed all restraint from her tongue, and the offensive truth came out in only 2 words. "Actually, no," and she said it loud enough for everyone to hear. The obvious implication was clear to their friends. It hardly looked like Yana was just playfully teasing her hubby. She hoped that a sincere apology and sincere reassurance would convince her husband that yesterday's remark did not matter. Alas, her apology was false. She was determined to keep this fact and the reasons why it was a lie a secret from him and everyone else. Desperate to correct her mistake, Yana decided to send her husband a message. "I'm so sorry about last night. With kids on the way, I decided Lana's party was my last chance to let go and relax a little. The fact that I went too far is putting it mildly. I was so out of it that I thought it was funny, maybe even playful. I believed I was teasing my darling hubby like any wife, but the look on your face instantly told me I'd screwed up. The fact that Lana was so quick to pick up and add her own punch is just her nature. She knows nothing about our past and, most likely, decided to just have fun. You know she adores you. Please don't blame me her. Baby, that's not what I meant. You are my best in everything. Forgive me for being a stupid drunk who didn't understand how my best friend, could get hurt by my poor attempt at a joke. I love you with all my heart. Come home or at least call me. Please, I love you." Having made coffee, Yana sat down on a chair at the table, clasping her head in her hands. Many times she asked herself out loud, "Why did I say such stupidity?" At that moment, her phone rang, and the thought flashed through her head that Nick was answering. The call, however, was from Lana, and Yana chose to ignore it. Only a few minutes passed before Lana called again. Yana decided to answer. This conversation was also inevitable. "Yes, Lana? Honey, what the hell is going on? Last night you started to tell me something, and then fell silent." "It's not like Nick to react like that because of a little harmless joke," Lana said. "No, it's not like that," Yana answered slowly and restrainedly. "I'll come," Lana said. "No, this is not very good." Lana interrupted her. "Put on the damn coffee pot. I'll be there in 10 minutes. And without waiting for an answer, she passed out. 7 minutes later, Jana's side door opened, and Lana walked in to find a cup of coffee on the table, prepared just the way she liked it. "Okay, lay it out," Lana ordered. "Lana, I can't. How long have we been best friends? Haven't I ever had your back? Now spit it out." Yana, racked with guilt, desperately needed someone to confide in, and Lana was her best friend. "First of all, you have to swear to me that you will never tell anyone about this, not even Steve." "Yana, I swear to you. Honey, I won't tell anyone. This will remain between us. Swear on the lives of your children." "Lord, baby, what have you done?" "Okay, I swear. I swear on my children no one will ever hear anything from me," Lana said, making the most solemn promise. "This happened 5 years ago, even before we moved here. The insurance company I worked for had a great year and had a Christmas party a few days before the 25th. Nick was supposed to be there, but his brother started a small fire in his house, which resulted in significant chaos. My husband and his truck were asked to help. Nick insisted that I go and have fun with my work friends and left to help his brother. Even though I told him I didn't have to go, I would be embarrassed to miss out since I was the executive who agreed to oversee this year's holiday. Parties, including cleaning up and restoring the office afterward. I pray to God that I insist on helping with the fire damage instead." Getting ready to change clothes to go out, I hesitated. Initially, I wanted to make my husband proud of me. The skimpy little black dress, daring bra, and thong were meant to dazzle and show everyone how hot my husband's wife is. The choice of outfit puzzled me, because I didn't think about what else to wear. My first mistake of the evening was deciding that I still wanted guys to drool over me and wearing a cheeky outfit, even though Nick might be a little pissed if he saw how I dressed for the party since I was going alone. With a colleague, yes, Lana exclaimed. Lana catches on quickly, very quickly. With a colleague? Yana repeated. Everything was much worse. Okay, girl, from the very beginning, the whole story, point by point, don't miss anything, Lana demanded. Okay. Damn. I've never said this out loud before. The party was typical. Everyone was happy. The drinks were flowing, and some guys were taking advantage of single women with liberal use of mistletoe. As night fell, I was drafted into the ranks of single girls. Not surprising, since my hubby wasn't there, and I was dressed like an errand woman. I realized what they were doing and should have put an end to it, but I was already tipsy and enjoying everyone's attention. Two guys in particular, Mark and Jake, kept pressuring me to relax. This was not the first time they had made sexual innuendos in my direction, and to my shame, sometimes I played along by returning feminine responses. I understand that I was too flirtatious with men back then, and I wish I had thought about the consequences of this earlier. Anyway, they kept pressuring me to allow things that wouldn't pass my husband's test. I knew exactly what I was doing, and worse, I was lying to myself that a little fun wouldn't hurt anyone. Nick will never know anyway, right? They lured me into places where others could not see the liberties that I allowed. The kisses became more and more intense, and as time passed, so did my morals. They became bolder when they realized that my symbolic resistance had disappeared in direct proportion to the lesser likelihood that others would detect us. Hidden from prying eyes, the men freely groped my body. I encouraged them. I knew it, and what's worse, they knew it. It's finally time to send everyone home. Since I was in charge, my job was to kick them all out after they helped me clean up. Since the place looked fairly restored, I turned off the lights and locked the main room. I then headed to my office to grab my purse, phone, and car keys. I changed my mind for a moment. I probably crossed all boundaries of what was permitted. Designated drivers were set for everyone except me because Nick was supposed to be my driver. The only good solution for this evening was to call a taxi. When I opened the door to my office and reached for the switch, Mark grabbed my hand, not allowing me to turn on the overhead light, which was very bright and could be seen from the outside. He said, "Let's continue," and kissed me on the lips. Frightened at first, I began to kiss him back. At that moment, a pair of arms came around me from behind and cupped both my breasts, while a very hard manhood pressed against my cloth-covered ass. It was Jake, and as he started rubbing against my ass, Mark took my face in his hands and kissed me deeply. I definitely drank too much, and the caresses with which they caressed me made me very sexually aroused, and, unfortunately, my husband was very far from my thoughts. I was lost and too far gone for thoughts of betrayal to get in the way. "Looks like some bad guys want to play," I said, stuttering slightly. Jake said, "We were really hoping you'd see this," and he reached out and turned on the desk lamp so there would be enough light to see what we were doing, but not advertise to the outside world that someone was inside. Mark then closed and locked my office door. I need to emphasize something right here that I don't think you, or anyone else for that matter, would believe, but I swear to God that it's the absolute truth. When I said I wanted to play, I didn't mean to have sex with them. You're right about that. Convincing anyone, especially Nick, hell, the chances of anyone but me believing it are zero, Lana added. I know. Don't I know this for sure? But I need you to believe me. I really, really need you to believe me. Okay, baby, I believe you. I know firsthand that a little alcohol can make a person rationalize shit like caviar, Lana said, offering some encouragement. I just thought we'd keep kissing and groping each other while the door was locked. The only thing you can see from the outside is if the main light is on, so I thought I'd have a little more harmless fun without the risk. I know how stupid it sounds now. Damn. I wish I could go back and change everything. Lana, I don't know if you've ever experienced two men trying to seduce you, but this feeling was incredibly strong. Yana paused. Actually, I have something to share since we are confessing. But you finish, I'll come later, Lana said. Okay. Be that as it may, Mark continued to experience my resistance. Kissing him back, I completely forgot about Jake until I heard his zipper being unzipped. My dress rode up to my waist, and Jake almost had my covered ass. Meanwhile, Mark also took advantage of my raised dress. That was the first moment when I realized that these two guys were going to fuck me. Well, as I already said, there was a lot of groping, but then the clothes began to completely come off. Yours or them? Lana asked, excited by her friend's story. Both, Yana continued. The feeling of two men lusting after you as they strip you was something I had never imagined. I protested weakly, saying, "No, I can't do this. No, I'm married, I can't." But after a few seconds, all that was left of me was a thong and heels. Being pleasured by two men was the most erotic thing I've ever experienced, but it was surpassed by what happened next. None of them wanted to stay away. I was in heaven. Two men have me at the same time. How could one person, any person, ever compete with such experience? We were so excited that it didn't take long until we all showed up. It was the best sex of my life. When we cooled down, I thought about Nick, and my betrayal suddenly became just as clear. I tried my best to break free and began to beg them to never tell anyone. What we did was a huge mistake, and I will undoubtedly get divorced if the truth comes out. They both promised to remain silent, but I realized that I would never find peace, knowing that the possibility of my betrayal could come to light. Yana finished, sitting heavily on a chair. Now it's clear why you answered like that yesterday. Did Nick ever find out? Lana asked. When Yana tried to answer, she burst into tears. Baby, if you want to stop, take a break, Lana suggested. No, I need to speak out while I have the strength, said Yana, and then continued. I think they were both very nervous seeing how upset I was, so they promised me to honestly keep my secret. That night, I avoided meeting Nick. It was already well after midnight when he returned home after helping his brother. The next 2 days were very awkward for me being around him. He could tell that something was wrong, but I denied that I had any problems until the New Year's party. I wanted to move past it, but I was already committed to being the party supervisor for this year's holiday parties. And besides, Nick might question my reluctance to go, and I didn't want to arouse any suspicion. Jake wasn't there. Perhaps he was afraid that his wife might suspect something. But good old Mark was there and got very drunk. He has a reputation as a player, and I still can't understand how I let him, of all people, get anywhere near me. I spent most of the evening dodging Mark. However, as time wore on and he became increasingly drunk, he became uncomfortably friendly with me, so much so that my secretary Cindy pulled me aside and said, "Be careful, your husband is here this time." Her emphasis on the word "this time" did not go unnoticed by me. My God, how many people suspect something? I tried to stay away from Mark, but by the end of the evening, he seemed determined to flaunt my indiscretion in front of my husband. When Nick went to the bar for some cold drinks, Mark took the opportunity to come closer, grabbed my hand and said, "Come on, baby, you haven't danced with me yet." I panicked and said no, too, emotionally. Then, when Nick approached us, returning from the bar with our drinks, Mark said, "You weren't so arrogant at the Christmas party," holding my hand, trying to persuade me to dance with him. I jerked and told Mark to take his hands off me. I was terrified because I wasn't sure how much Nick had heard. An embarrassed expression appeared on my husband's face, which quickly turned to anger. To defuse the situation, I told Mark that the bar was about to close. He decided he needed another free drink. Cindy was nearby, and I gave her a look that could only be interpreted as pleading and asked her to replace me. She understood my dilemma, pointed to my husband, and then nodded her head towards the door. I managed to get Nick out the door to take me home before the real trouble started. I told my husband that Mark was just very drunk, and I was very proud that my man did not clean his watch, as he very well could have done. I also noted that if this happened, everyone would have problems with management, regardless of who started what. When we returned home, Nick asked what happened. I tried to brush it off as Mark had had too much to drink, but Nick told me that if Mark ever came near me again, no matter what it took, he would kill him. At breakfast, Nick was already going over the events of last night and what was said in his mind. He asked, "Cindy intervened so quickly. How could she handle Mark better than you?" Then he quickly added, "What did he mean by how you behaved at the last party? What happened there? Why did you act so strange after that? Do you feel guilty about something?" He put two and two together. It was obvious that he didn't buy the idea that Mark was just drunk. He knew something had to happen to get those comments. Then he asked me again, with more force. "Well, what the hell happened at the Christmas party?" Feeling depressed, I broke down and admitted that I got drunk and engaged in some inappropriate behavior, but did not go into details. Then Nick looked me straight in the eye and asked, "Did you have sex with him?" He saw it in my eyes and understood it even before I answered. There was no point in denying it, so I said that I had drunk too much and that I was ashamed that I had allowed this to happen. He was furious, but he didn't press for details and I didn't say anything, so he never found out about Jacques or what I let the two of them do. To my shame, he probably didn't even think I was capable of such behavior, so it didn't even occur to him to ask. Nick left me that day and didn't want to talk to me. We were apart for 3 months without communicating. I was in agony when he agreed to start talking to me. I begged him at every opportunity to take me back. I even invited him to sign a free pass to the hall to get even. He eventually agreed to counseling, and after several months of sessions, I began to feel that Nick was looking for a way to restore our marriage. I was so happy that he seemed to want to stay married to me, and I was determined to do whatever it took to make that happen. I thought he would press for more details, and I was terrified of what knowing the whole truth would do to him. I can only guess what his reasons were, but he didn't ask those questions. I was thrilled that I didn't have to decide whether to lie or answer, even though I understand that withholding the whole story is lying by omission. He eventually agreed to make peace, promising that he would do everything he could to forgive me. But there were conditions. First, I had to sign a post-nuptial agreement that said I would get virtually nothing in the divorce if I ever cheated again. Another requirement of our reconciliation was that I should quit my job and we would move. Finally, he surprised me by showing me his hall passes. I forgot I suggested it, but I was so desperate for him to agree without asking any more questions that I signed an agreement that included giving him a couple of free passes to the hall. I think he needed them to help restore his badly damaged pride more than anything else, as I don't think he ever used them. So I agreed to everything, including moving away from all our friends and family so I could get my man back. Luckily, he was able to make a lateral move in his company, and my experience in insurance also made it easy for me to get a job. That's when we came here. I never had to tell him the whole truth about my betrayal, and I never let him down again. I'm sure you understand that I'm afraid that if he knew everything, he would divorce me. That's why my mistake last night could turn out to be such a disaster. I have to stick to the story that I made a tasteless joke, that only he took it that way, and that he is absolutely my best in life. Yana paused, letting her saga sink. Lord, did you have a threesome? I fantasized about this. Tell me again. How was it? Lana asked, showing enthusiasm for what her friend had done instead of realizing how close it was to ending the marriage. Damn it, Lana, I almost lost my husband, and I'm still in danger. Then after a long pause, between you and me, I cannot deny this fact. It was the most exciting sexual experience of my life, Yana said solemnly, and then added, I can't ever let Nick finds out the truth. Never. Okay, I understand why you said that. I also understand that no man can compete with two. It's better than my dirty story, Lana shared. What did you do? Asked Yana. Okay, I also want you to swear to me. Nobody needs to know. Stevie would probably throw me to the curb, Lana said, looking intently into Yana's eyes. Agree. We made an agreement. Nothing said here will ever be revealed to anyone. Yana swore her mutual devotion, and then invited her friend to share. Okay, it's your turn to tell everything. Lana began her story. Both of us. I never spoke about it out loud either. We were going to have a party, and people from the company were going to come to a swim and barbecue party that evening. Steve called me and said he had an emergency with one of their largest accounts. He was personally handling this particular client and was going to be at least 3 hours late getting home. Ron, hubby's business partner, took it upon himself to fill in for my husband and came under the guise of helping me get ready. He knew that their most important client hired my husband and that he had to personally go to this guy's office, which is about an hour and 10 minutes away each way.